Prepare to be revealed today, not just a theory, but a mirror. Often we walk through life with a sense of exhaustion that does not come from physical labor or lack of sleep, but from an invisible weight that we choose to carry every day without realizing it. There is a silent error, a flaw in how we perceive reality and our interactions that is slowly draining your life force, your creativity, and above all, your peace of mind. You feel like you are constantly climbing a steep hill, but when you look back, you see no real progress. This happens because you are carrying stones that are not yours and trying to fix paths that should never even be walked. The problem is that this error is so subtle that it disguises itself as virtue. It dresses itself in responsibility, empathy, and dedication, when in fact it is just a mechanism of self-destruction that the world has taught us to accept. But today, that ends. I'm going to show you how to identify this invisible error, and more importantly, how to let it go in silence. Before we move on to the practical lessons, I want you to visualize a scene. Imagine a traveler crossing a scorching desert carrying an immense backpack. He is sweating, panting, and on the verge of collapsing. A wise man finds him and asks what is in the backpack. The traveler, with pride, responds that he carries memories of all the cities he has passed through, the opinions of everyone he has met, and detailed plans for what he will do 10 years from now. The wise man smiles sadly and says that if the traveler does not empty his backpack now, he will never reach the next oasis, as he is dying of thirst because of the weight of what has passed and what does not even exist yet. Life is that desert, and your mind is that backpack. If you feel this content is arriving at the right moment in your journey, I ask you to subscribe now and turn on notifications, because every lesson we share here is a step toward your mental freedom. Let's start emptying that load right now. The first error you commit without realizing it is the illusion of responsibility for others' emotions. Have you ever felt guilty because someone else was in a bad mood? Have you spent sleepless nights trying to figure out how you could have spoken differently so as not to upset a colleague or family member? Stop now. The Stoics knew that a sacred boundary exists between what I do and how the other person receives it. If you acted with integrity and kindness, the other person's reaction belongs exclusively to them. When you try to control how others feel, you take on a position of God for which you were not hired. This generates constant tension, a state of alert where you are walking on eggshells all the time. Eliminate this stone from your backpack. Understand that the other person's peace is not your obligation, but your peace is. By letting go of this need to fix others' moods, you discover a lightness you have never experienced. The second crucial point is the addiction to constant validation. We live in an era where if we don't post, we don't exist, and if we don't receive approval, we are worth nothing. This is the most destructive, invisible error of modernity. You begin to mold your opinions and even your tastes to fit a pattern that even you don't truly respect. It is like wearing armor that doesn't protect you, it only suffocates you. Stoic philosophy teaches us that a diamond's value doesn't change whether it is buried in the mud or displayed in a luxury showcase. Your value is intrinsic. When you stop looking for the yes in the eyes of others, you finally hear your own yes. Start doing things in silence. Carry out projects without telling anyone. Feel the pleasure of being the sole owner of your victory. This builds an unbreakable character. The third element of this unnecessary weight is the fixation on past mistakes that have already been forgiven by life, but not by you. How many times do you find yourself reliving an argument from 3 years ago? How many times does "I should have said" echo in your head while you try to sleep? This is a poison you drink, hoping that the past will change. Time is the only thing that even the richest man in the world cannot buy back. Spending your present ruminating on what has been is an insult to your existence. Accept the error as a teacher who has already given the lesson and left. Close the door to that room. The fourth invisible error is the silent comparison with the edited lives of others. You look to the side and see people who seem to have everything figured out, but you are comparing your behind the scenes with their lit stage. This comparison kills gratitude. Gratitude is not a sappy sentiment, it is a tool for mental survival. When you focus on what you lack based on what your neighbor displays, you become blind to the abundance already on your table. Let go of others' lives and grab yours with both hands. The fifth point is the need to always be busy to feel important. Society has convinced us that idleness is a sin and that rest is weakness. But the truth is that a mind that never stops is a mind that never reflects. This constant noise prevents you from identifying where the invisible error lies. It is in silence that great truths appear. Set aside moments to do nothing, to just observe. Stillness is the ground where wisdom flourishes. The sixth error is the attachment to relationships that have already died, but whose bodies you still carry. There are friendships and partnerships that served for a season of your life, but now only offer shadow and stagnation. Holding on to these bonds out of fear of loneliness or out of consideration for time is an error that delays your destiny. Let go. Say goodbye with gratitude, but do not allow yesterday to hinder your tomorrow. The seventh element is the worry about a future that hasn't happened yet. We suffer more in imagination than in reality, as Seneca said. We create gigantic monsters in our minds that, most of the time, never cross our path. Tomorrow will bring its own problems, and you will have the tools to solve them when they arrive, not before. Focus on the now, on the step your feet are taking this very second. If you have made it this far, it is because something inside you has awakened to this truth. This awareness is the first step of your liberation. Now imagine that traveler again. He decided to listen to the wise man. He opened the backpack and began to throw away the stones. With every object that hit the ground, he felt a shock of energy running through his body. The air seemed easier to breathe. The sun no longer seemed so cruel. He realized the desert was not the enemy, but what he carried internally. He began to walk, and to his surprise, his steps were fast and precise. He reached the oasis not because he was the strongest, but because he was the wisest in deciding what not to carry. Your life is about to change in the same way. But this change requires commitment. It is not enough to hear these words. You must apply them. You must have the courage to be misunderstood, the courage to be the strange one who no longer engages in unnecessary dramas. The invisible error only has power as long as you do not see it. Now that it has been exposed, it has begun to lose its grip on you. Feel that relief right now. Notice how your shoulders relax when you accept that you don't need to carry the world. You are just a man, a woman, seeking your peace, and that peace is your birthright. I want to invite you to a practical exercise today. Choose one of these burdens I mentioned and decide, in silence, that you will no longer feed it today. Just for today. Feel what it is like to live without that weight for 24 hours. You will see that the world does not end if you stop worrying about others' opinions or if you stop trying to control the future. On the contrary, your life finally begins. This video is just the beginning of a profound conversation we want to have with you about mastering your own mind. If you felt that weight lift a little while listening to me, leave a like so this message reaches more people who are suffering in silence. Comment below with the phrase, "I choose lightness," to seal your commitment to this new phase. Subscribe to the channel and join this community of minds seeking ancient wisdom to overcome modern challenges. Thank you for trusting your time to this reflection. Remember, what you let go of is just as important as what you hold on to. Walk in peace, walk light, and we will see you in the next video.